Spider-Man Homecoming. I did not write out a review of this, which usually I would never do. Just set the camera up, sit in front of it, and talk about movies without having a script here to go off of. But I'm going to attempt to try it for this one. And also, in this review, this might be sort of minor spoilers or major spoilers, depending on what you would consider a spoiler. But yes, so you've been warned there, and I don't think it matters at this point, considering as it's gone up as late as it has. So I will be freestyling through this video. Freestyling, yeah! So, in general, I thought the movie was okay. It was alright. Well, yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. No, but in all seriousness, and I know I'm in a minority here, but I wasn't blown away by Spider-Man Homecoming. I wouldn't consider it anything super spectacular, or even anything special in the general MCU, to be honest. But I'll try and get to some of all the positives I can possibly think of. First, I thought there was lots and lots of little bits and little moments throughout, like funny moments of dialogue and other little things that really worked, that were really charming. I just thought the story as a whole overall didn't hold together as much as it should have, or as much as it probably needed to be, just in terms of some weak motivations from the Vulture and from Peter Parker and their general rivalry. I just didn't find it particularly compelling. But yeah, I'm going to try and get to the positives first. Michael Keaton, though, as the Vulture. Fantastic performance. And Michael Keaton is just one of those actors that's so charismatic that even when he's not sort of making jokes or trying to be funny, you kind of laugh. I don't want to say at him because that sounds, not respectful, but he's just so charismatic and talented that you just can't help but kind of smile whenever he's on screen and literally just giggle at how good he is at what he does. Michael Keaton, his performance was absolutely fantastic. I thought Tom Holland as Peter Parker was fine. I understand the readers of the comics, and I didn't read any of the comics, but the readers of the comics have been very satisfied with this adaptation of Spider-Man. I grew up with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man swinging through New York, and this Spider-Man Homecoming has taken on a much more friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, where it's much more suburbs-oriented, it's through the suburbs, and Spider-Man isn't trying to save the world from sort of giant criminals that want to just take over the world or take over New York. In my understanding of the original comics is that he's more, he takes on petty thugs, like the Vulture. And I did mention before this was going to be spoilers, didn't I? I hope so. And I loved that the Vulture was sort of this blue-collar kind of character. The opening scene and the first whole 10 minutes was just the Vulture and his team of blue-collar laborers sort of cleaning up after the events of Captain America's Civil War, just cleaning up the destruction of New York. I also quite liked throughout how Captain America would make little sort of cameos in these instructional video type things, and one of the gym teachers in the movie, he sort of made the little quip, I'm pretty sure this guy's like some sort of war criminal now or something, but there you go. I thought that was all really quite funny. The movie in general is a comedy. It honestly is. And I thought that was interesting. It's as much of a comedy as, say, Ant-Man was or Deadpool was, I would probably think. Another thing about the Vulture, as far as the design of the character went, even though it is sort of big, robotic, and, he flies around, which is something that we've seen before, it really did look distinctly intimidating and actually quite scary. Like the Vulture, he had sort of green eyes and this sort of quite memorable hoodie, like this big fluffy Antarctic hoodie that was really cool. And just the way it moved as, the wings came up and it sort of went and came at Spider-Man, I genuinely found that quite an interesting design and really, quite scary. Possibly my favourite part of the movie as well, and a part that everyone else seems to have loved as well, was the reveal that the Vulture is the girl in the movie. I forget her name. The girl that Peter Parker was taking to Homecoming. The Vulture was her dad. So Peter Parker rocks up to the house, and voila, the Vulture just opens the door. And I thought that whole scene, like in the kitchen and in the car, sort of in the kitchen when Michael Keaton's character would sort of offered Peter Parker a drink or something, and yeah, in the car, the whole sort of rivalry there, it was genuine tension, and this is really what superhero movies need more of, is this sort of character tension that is both really, really entertaining, almost kind of funny in like a very uncomfortable way. And this scene, I mean, Spider-Man Homecoming needed more of those scenes. But as far as standout positives go, that's all I've really got to say. Now, please don't hate on me, but I'm going to get to the things that didn't really work for me in the film right now. Here we go. Spider-Man's friend, Ned, I believe his name was, I didn't find him annoying or anything, and I didn't find him not funny or like a bad performance or anything. He was okay in the movie, he was fine, but I just couldn't help but get kind of sick of him after a while. I don't really know why he had as much screen time as he did. As far as the action goes as well, I didn't find it super duper memorable or inventive or exciting as I was really hoping for it. And the other thing that didn't quite work for me in the movie was the spider suit itself. It was kind of this gadget-tastic Iron Man-esque kind of thing that seemed to sort of be able to do anything and everything, and it kind of, even though Peter Parker was, clumsy with it and he didn't know how it worked at first, and, he was learning, he was making mistakes and screwing things up, and we've all been in those sort of positions in everyday life where we, have to use complicated technology and we have to learn it. We're not quite sure what we're doing. But nonetheless, I thought the gadget-tastic kind of suit where he had a drone that could come out of his chest, it took away a sense of vulnerability that I think Spider-Man needed. And then even another sort of very nitpicky thing that I had with the film is that it had sort of a very brown kind of look to it. It kind of, it didn't have that vibrant colour that you sometimes would see with MCU movies, and especially what you would expect from a Spider-Man movie with, young teenage Spider-Man. It was sort of, it all just looked quite sort of, the colour tone was just a bit brown. But overall, in summation, I am keen to see where this Spider-Man goes. I understand that, as with any sort of new reboot, I guess, they do need to play it quite safe. I mean, Star Wars The Force Awakens, that really worked, even though that was quite a safe movie. But yes, I'm keen to see where Spider-Man fits into the MCU going forward. There's only sort of a small handful of MCU properties that I'm really interested in anymore. Avengers Infinity War, I'm just not super keen on seeing that because I didn't even like Captain America Civil War. I think they're just all becoming too bloated. I much prefer the smaller, grounded stories like Deadpool, like Logan, like Ant-Man. Unfortunately, though, not quite like Spider-Man Homecoming. But please, I'm sure a lot of you will completely disagree with my thoughts on Spider-Man Homecoming, and I would love to know what you thought in the comments down below, so let's just keep it friendly. We may have different opinions, but that's okay. Difference of opinion is a wonderful thing. So, yes, please let me know what you thought of Spider-Man Homecoming. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.